Consistently attract soulmate clients. Begin showing up on brand, monetizing on your calling. Welcome all spiritual coaches, leaders, healers, light workers, and practitioners to a show that turns you on in your business and amplifies your magnetism. I'm host, catalyst, and spiritual business coach Rosalyn Fung, and I'm here to journey with you into the juicy and help you discover where the real gaps are. Ignite your mindset and soul with strategies and systems as each episode takes you to the sweet spot that activates your Soulgasmic business. Enjoy this light language activation as we begin to magnetize and monetize.
Hello, my loves. Welcome to an incredible, sexy, playful, pleasurable show. I am so excited to have my special guest, Marianne St. Clair, who is here to support you in embodying your confidence by playing and through pleasure and then dropping in all the prosperity codes. So this episode is absolutely for you if you are a woman who is desiring to get out of that masculine energy, that, no pain, no gain, sort of push, push, push energy. You're noticing you're not having that much fun in business and you want to stop efforting so much and move into, because there's a different way to be, move into more pleasure, more play, and really embodying this and bring this alchemy of you into your business. You guys know I'm all about this. So this is also for you if perhaps you're a woman who is coming and approaching a stage in your life where you're becoming an empty nester. And now it's like, I gotta be looking at you. As a former psychologist, I've seen a lot of this transition myself. And women often need to, because they've kind of lost their sense of self. And it's like coming back to, who am I really? Who am I really? It's coming back into your relationship with you and exploring this and finding your power and purpose again in this different and new stage in life. And this is for the woman who desires to truly step into her fullest power through leadership and doing this in such a feminine, energetic way. So before I introduce Marianne more formally, I want to have you check in. It is almost the end of 2022. How's it been going with your goals and manifesting the business that you've deeply desired? How's it been going with your client flow? How's it been going with leading your team? How's it been going with your income levels? I would love to invite you to jump into my free masterclass, How to Boldly and Unapologetically sell your coaching business and align your full body yes clients. I totally screwed that up. Let me try again. It's how to boldly and unapologetically market your coaching business, not sell it. Unless that's what you want to do. You could do that too. So the link is in my show notes. And I invite you to hop on a free business soul alignment discovery call with me if you're ready to level up your business for 2023. Let's get a head start. All right, my loves. Without further ado, I'd love to introduce you to the amazing, soulicious Marianne. She and I met through, I think it was through Facebook, right, love? This is why I love social media. Right, you guys hear me say relationships are currency, and building those authentic relationships is key, so key. And so Marianne and I built a beautiful relationship. I love what she's about. I've seen her putting herself out there. I'm like, oh, is this woman? I need to get into her world a little bit more. And I'm just like, oh my God, yes. She like prosperity codes, yummy, soulicious, pleasure codes. So Marianne is internationally recognized as the world's #1 muse and mentor, confidence coach, published author, international speaker, and leader. She helps her clients to live orgasmic lives, both professionally and personally, through the process of reclaiming their sovereignties in all capabilities, sexually, emotionally, financially, creatively, and relationally, and has taught these techniques to thousands of people around the world. Through her, I love this word, multi-sensory experiences, she guides them out of their heads and into their sensual bodies so that they can reclaim their 5 essential P's: peace, pleasure, power, purpose, and prosperity. I love this. We're going to dive in deeper. Welcome, love. Thank you so much for being here and playing with me.
Wow, Rosalyn, I couldn't think of a better place that I would want to play.
Yay.
This is a great playground to play in, right?
Yes, it absolutely is, love. Well, please share with us. I see you and I'm like, yo, she's got Mama Gina vibes. I love her. So I'd love for you to share a little bit more about your story and how you became who you are today and be doing what you're doing.
Yeah, we can dive in and we can look at it a bunch of different ways. And first, I want to go into I was born with a lot of sexual energy. I was born with a lot of sensuality. That through and through. And so during times of trauma and during times of growing up, not having support to keep my gifts and my energy alive, through trauma of sexual abuse, through trauma of raising, I say trauma of raising kids. And, I lost myself along the way in raising
Many women
kids,
do.
being
Yeah.
married. It's something that I was thinking yesterday, take that Easter when you have that little chocolate bunny and you look at that chocolate bunny and it looks so great on the inside, but then when you take a bite out of it, it's hollow on the inside. That's who I became. I became very hollow in that I was pleasing my kids. I was pleasing, I was working really hard to build a business as an entrepreneur. I had a daughter who had a chronic illness. And through all of this striving and trying to effort and make things happen for myself, I knew what I was here to share on the inside, but I was hollow. And I would ask those questions like, if this is all my life is meant to be, if this is all that I've come to know, then I don't know. Is it really worth it? I was just striving. And it really wasn't until I started painting. And I started painting these vibrant turtles. And the turtles helped me come home because as I was mixing colors, I was painting and I was coming home to my body because I was listening to my body. Then I started really honing in on my sexuality and pleasuring.
Now, may I
And
pause and ask you,
yes,
what age was this when you started to rediscover this and then immerse yourself in painting?
Okay, so the first part of it was when my spiritual awakening started in my 30s. So I've been a life coach for 26 years, since the beginning of coaching. And I used to present at ICF with the body. And I've always been about the body. I've been a massage therapist. I've been a personal trainer. And so I've always had this awareness of sexuality and sensuality and how the two come together. But this part about painting happened about 10 years ago. And
Wow.
I started coming into another level of femininity, another level of knowing that the feminine was rising within me, and creativity and inspiration was a big key to that. And then the body, because the masculine teaches us to stay from here up, and sensuality and the feminine brings us back into the body. And so that turtle was so significant, was a significant reminder of our home is, that we wear it. So it was that coming home to Marianne, that coming home to renaissance of birthing my own feminine power within me.
That's so powerful. And also, turtle medicine is about slowing down. And
Yes.
really, yeah, that's really what it was calling to for you. I can really hear that, and how powerful that period it must have been to really come home to yourself. I can absolutely relate with coming home to myself. Mine was not through painting, very different way. But I also, Marianne, it's so interesting you're speaking about it through painting, because I literally love painting as well. And this is a great reminder and a spirit universal message for me to be like, yo, get your paintbrushes out. I was literally talking about that with my kids the other day. Because it is a very sensual experience. It's like that. Well, sexual energy at the highest power is creative life force energy, right? So yeah, thank you for that reminder for me.
Yeah, and for me always too. It's like having that little teeny pad that you can put in your purse with a little teeny thing of watercolors. And so you can just watercolors is so great because you can free flow it. You can let the water move the colors. And I used something when I was painting my turtles called unicorn spit. How cool is that?
What is that?
Yeah, it was really an interesting medium to use, and I could paint on wood, and I made these 6 foot by 5 foot paintings that were so vibrant and alive, and they helped me come back to being vibrant and alive. Because when we infuse that color into our body, I always love your backdrops and your the things that you put behind you, because it brings such a vibrancy
Yes.
to the moment, and when we wear those and infuse our bodies with those, it's great. It's wonderful.
It's so powerful. Yes. And yeah, like this backdrop is my girlfriend. She's Queen Nefertiti on Instagram. She is an intuitive channeler, and she channels painting. So this is my energy in a painting of the sacral chakra, of course. So coming back here, I love how you shared the simplicity of just, really, where can we get those watercolors? From the dollar shop? Even that, we don't have to go out elaborate to the paint shop and spend a whole bunch of money. And it doesn't need to be that. It could be as simple as the watercolors. Personally, I would say for myself, I love the acrylics and I love big canvas, because it's just like less is free for all. And I feel like there's like a calling to even paint more, if we're gonna be go there, with my husband, just paint each other, maybe with chocolate and peanut butter, but
paints and
right?
paints.
Yes.
Because my daughter and I, we do it all the time. We'll create tribal patterns. The body is a great canvas. Think if it was a very sensual time for you and him, it could be food, or it could be paints, non-toxic paints. And how beautiful to see what he would create on your body, or you to create on his body. And then you could even take a big canvas underneath you, and you could paint on the canvas. There's so many ways.
Yeah,
so many ways.
I love it. So coming back to your story, love, because I know there's women here who are just like, okay, that's doable. I'm I need to slow down a little bit, embody pleasure. And painting, because let's face it, a lot of us women have had, and not just women, but men as well, unfortunately have had lots of sexual trauma in our history. And so they're just going right there probably feels too big, and it might open some big wounds. So the baby step could be, let's do things that bring in sensual without the context of sexuality. And painting is such a powerful way to do that. And the thing is, there's no right or wrong. It gets us into our right brains. Where being creative, there is no right or wrong.
Yes, and I believe that sexuality is a spiritual opening, a spiritual path.
Yes, yes, it is.
And you
Mm,
brought up something so important, is that we have to begin to feel safe first.
yes. Mhm.
Safe to move forward, safe to explore something. And safety is an embodied feeling.
Yes, it
It's
is.
like you hear of people that get in an elevator with somebody that is about to, do the, and they drop into this sense of safety, and then the person goes on. There's a place within me that I feel is so expansive. It taps into the universe in a way that is that stillness and that quietness and
Mm.
that peaceful place, that the world could be completely chaotic around me, but I'm safe. And it's not something that somebody can give you out here. It's a place that I can guide you to go to, and to create for yourself. And that's the first step. Like, if you're going to expand even in your business, and you're going to expand to more greater money, greater expression out into the world, your body has to feel safe. You have to feel safe. And, that's something that we
Absolutely.
weren't necessarily taught as kids. We weren't taught. We were taught how to be unsafe, a lot of us, or don't talk to strangers. But to me, everybody's a stranger. So I got to talk to everybody.
Well, and even like for myself, especially cultural, being Chinese, I didn't even get the birds and bees. There's a lot of like shame around being a sexual being, right? So for me, it was actually, that was my trauma, was just like I shut down my sensuality, my sexuality, because we are all born sexual beings. Babies are sexual beings, right? And so that term unfortunately gets in wrongly categorized or thought of, but we are at a healthiest state, we are sexual beings. And I didn't know that, Marianne. And see, I'm like, I wish you were in my mom's life so that she could teach me about healthy sexuality. But we're not taught that in the generations of shame around sex. It's for procreation, that's okay, but anything else, nope, that's hidden in the closet, right? And literally, I've been punished, and there's absolutely no blame. I know my parents were like doing the best they can with their belief system, but I was punished for like looking at porn as a young child because I found it. I was like, oh my god. And so it's like that was so hidden. And then I had beliefs around being a sexual being. And this is why I love the work you're doing, because I know deeply, having and continuing to do the work, it's like so important. Even in shamanics, life force energy is actually sexual energy. That's where it comes from. Do we have a bit of a lag? Oh, hang on. I think we're losing you, Marianne. I can't hear you, love. You know what we'll do is yeah, I really can't hear Marianne. Oh, we lost Marianne. Okay. Yeah, Marianne, check your mic. But yeah, as Marianne's, checking her mic, because this is live stream, this is what can happen. I invite you, audience, to share with us how, what your sexual story is. What's the thing that and I'm going to put it this way, like looking at your sexual history and what are all the traumas in there that now continue to be part of your story, and do you want to continue having that as part of your story? Because the thing is, you can change your relationship with sexuality. My handle, of course, my brand is Bold Sexy Warrior, and the sexy really is about being embodied in your sexuality and your sensuality, and more so because then you're magnetic. I don't mean you have to dress a certain way. I don't mean you have to look a certain way. It's your energy that pulls people in, right? And so when you're showing up fully in your power, one thing I teach and coach my clients on is showing up in your power. Power is freaking sexy. It's magnetic. Power is about showing up confidently. And so sometimes it's like me coaching my clients on especially on the nonverbals, right? Showing up in your power means, how are you delivering with your tone of voice? How is your posture? How are you presenting yourself? That, of course, is authentically to who you are, but we all have a state where we're also disempowered. Yes, me included, right? And that's not the version of us that we want to show up in. We don't want to have slumped shoulders, look down, avoid eye contacts. I mean, it makes a really big difference. Even in social media today, when we're marketing, notice how it is that you're showing up on video. Sometimes I see people rambly, and that loses people right away. You want to come in strong and powerful. That does not mean loud and look at me, kind of give me attention, okay? Because that's repelling too, right? We can feel the neediness from that. This is about, even if you're an introvert, even if you're a quieter, shy person. I have clients who are shy, who are introverts. It's not about that. It's about you showing up and sharing to your audience, your ideal clients. You're speaking to them. You're speaking to them. All right. And so as you're speaking to them, what is it that they want to hear? Remember, marketing is really about people are watching and they're going, what's in it for me? Is this about me? Right? They're watching or they're reading things to stop the scroll on social media. And you need to show up powerfully, authentically who you are, and unapologetically. That's what makes you magnetizing. All right, we are back with Marianne, my love. Hello, we are good. Okay, awesome.
Hello.
Your energy introduces you.
Yes.
Welcome back, love. So I was just sharing about the importance of the nonverbals, like energetically, what are we putting out there? And a lot of that is, through our owning our power and showing up there.
Yes. And I wanted to talk about that for just a minute. So
Yeah.
you were talking at the beginning of the show about codes, and you were talking about pleasure codes and play codes.
Mm-hmm.
And I talk a lot about when we're coming home and when we're embodying the fullest expression as women. I say we come into our queen codes.
Oh, yes.
Not
yes.
priestess, but we come into the full embodiment of the queen.
Yes.
And the queen, if you think about it, the queen doesn't try to have power over anybody. She's not trying to really, rule her queendom from a sense of, making someone do something for her. Mm-hmm. She stands in her true power and then calls the people around her or the anything in her environment she just is welcoming that servitude, and she's serving her people. So it's an essence within each one of us as women that when we call ourselves into it, it's royalty. It is, and it is a place of your true power where you don't have to try to make yourself be something you already are. So I just wanted to bring that in.
I want the audience to breathe that in. That is powerful, what you just dropped in, Marianne. This is about owning the queen codes, taking that in. And I love how you shared it's not about having power over, because that's not what a true queen is about. It's
No.
power within.
Yes.
They'll have that power within. Sometimes we as women forget. Yeah, love that reminder.
We've had everything that's taught us how to not be, you know, how not to be. What I was talking about before it sort of broke up is, you know, what happened to us as children? We got shamed. We got taught that our own bodies were not something, it wasn't safe to be in our bodies. So we should abandon them and we should live up in our heads. And when we can truly come to this understanding that our body is this multi-sensory, multi-dimensional place, and when we inhabit fully, when we embody this, our essence, our confidence comes because we are fully tuned in and turned on. And it's not something that we have to, that comes from the outside. Like somebody doesn't give you confidence. You are confident when you are embodying your full essence. And it's a drop in, you know, it's a place of, okay, am I in my body right now? And if you think about it, Rosalyn, our body is full of all these neuroreceptors. It's full of all of this, and it's a big receiver for information. When we're living up in our head, we're programmed by all that we've been through. It's a computer programming, but our body has the wisdom. It has the understanding. And so when we're in our body, it's like when you first begin to get tuned in, you're like an analog TV. You're beginning to tune in like you did back in the 60s and 70s of that TV. You're trying to get that FM station or that on a radio or, you know, that UHF TV station. But as you begin to tune in and turn on, and you become more of your sensual and in your queen codes, you have information to higher realms because you're like a high definition TV. You have so much more aliveness to access and information to call upon.
Oh, I love that. I love that so much. I love your analogies. And then that is another one of my favorite words, aliveness. It is. That's what you help women really tap back into is their aliveness.
Yes.
You know, I think that, Marianne, a lot of women, like at least in my energy field, they're like attracted to work with me because they are scared of the word power because of how they define it. And I imagine the same for you. It's like, wait a minute. I need to restory in my body and my subconscious how to be powerful without all that junk that I've been fed about power being scary and power meaning bitch and power over, right? Like this is a lot of, I think there's a lot of communication, misunderstanding around these words, and they're unfortunately seen as negative. And so women shy away from being powerful because of the beliefs they have around it.
Or they go and I think about back in my day and back around I'm a 60s baby, so I'm a baby boomer. I'm that wise, you know.
Mama.
I carry that wise woman energy. But back in the 60s with the feminist movement, women left, being at home and being the nurturer and wanted to be equal to men. And we put on our pants and we marched off to work to become equal to men. We let go of our flowy feminine dresses, and we wanted to step into the kind of power that men did. But we abandoned our bodies because what happened, they climbed the ladder. Women became like men, but they're angry because there's a part of them that knows. There's a part of each woman that knows there's something missing. I don't know what it is, but there's something that I know is missing, and I want to tap into that. And when you begin to come home to your body, when you begin to I call them turn off the barriers, beliefs, and bullshit that we've been fed, all those things that shame rolling, that keep us out of our power, that tell us that it's wrong to be a sensual feminine woman. And women are the worst to each other. How about you see somebody, like, I love when, you sent me the graphic for the show, and you're over there in your full, sexy, sensual self. I'm like, oh, she's my girl. Because, we need to celebrate each other's unique blueprint.
Oh, I love that. Yes. Energy signature, blueprints. Yes. And I love what you're sharing right now, because it is like a lot of women have sister wounds. There is a lot of, I should say, fortunately, I do not have women in my energy circle that's like this, because that's not who I attract. But there are women who are likely listening who are like, shit, like in the corporate world, right? Like that happens a lot, Marianne. You come from the corporate world. You see that a lot. Cutthroating, and the clients I have worked with in the past who were in the corporate world, they really had to work through narcissistic boss and really being able to know that they are still powerful and that they can't take in someone else's shit.
There's a different power. There's a different level of power. That's what, that power that we tend to, that masculine power, that power over, that power, is foreign to us, in the sense that when we can bring our feminine, when we can bring our queen, when we can bring our empress and our priestess, and we can bring our Medusa and our badass.
Yes.
Those are all essences and part of us. And when we can fully bring the playful fairy, and we can bring the Venus and sensual, it's so wonderful when we can bring all of that to us and not leave any parts of ourselves out. Then we can be in the fullness of our expression and our power, and we can collaborate with our other sisters, like what you and I are doing. It's just, that's where, the power of women bring to this world is in collaboration, is in community. And we're not looking to, separate from each other. We're looking to really understand, how can I be a full embodied, harmonious woman in my queen codes? And that's what I strive to do, is help,
I love it. Well, can you share one of your perhaps journeys that you've taken your clients on that would be representative of, the women that you usually work with?
So I could go a lot of different directions here.
Yeah, I know you can. That's why I'm like, so many.
Yes. So let's see. I'm going to give you two, and I'm going to keep both of them kind of short, okay? So I had a woman who started her business, grew a multi-million-dollar business, and she and her husband were getting divorced. And he started all of that narcissistic behavior in making her feel powerless, making her
Mm,
feel like she was nothing and that, the business wasn't hers. And so through the divorce, he was taking everything. Well, coming and working with me, she got back into her power. She was able to see what he was doing. She was able to reclaim her business,
yes.
reclaim her authority, and then be able to, go forward from there and not let, but through, the disempowerment process of that little girl who feels beaten down, who feels like somebody is that she has no power because through the marriage we sort of lose ourselves sometimes in
Yeah.
certain marriages and in certain businesses and certain relationships. As a mom, we disconnect from those powerful parts of ourselves and we give it away, we give our power away. So it was in that reclaiming. So that
Mm,
was one. She kept her business, kept and grew it from there. So she reclaimed her power.
beautiful. That's so powerful. And I know that lots of businesswomen who are listening to this can relate. It's not uncommon for me to hear that women often either like sometimes they feel like they have to sacrifice some part of their life. They can't have it all. That's a belief that's limiting you. That's a story that's limiting you, my loves, because you can have it all. And it's about bringing in your power to let that expand into all areas of your life in a way that feels harmonious and powerful. So I love what you just shared, Marianne. Thank you for the work you do. And then your second client.
My second client was a woman who was married for about 20 something years. They had been in a relationship for many years before that as friends and as they grew up. And then one day she walked in on her husband having an affair with somebody else, and the visual is oral sex on this other woman. And she completely went into, I'm not good enough. I'm bad and wrong. And she started like putting on like grandma clothes, reclusing into her room, being more, just totally taken out of her power. And
Mm,
so through our work together, we went all the way from this granny gowns to a sexy, vibrant woman who it was almost like it looked like a bipolar situation because it was fully disembodied and home where she didn't want to talk to anybody. She didn't want to eat with her daughter. She reclused and then we went even shopping, looking for negligees, all the way to the point where they rekindled their marriage. They
wow.
got into, because all of the stories, all the beliefs, barriers, and
Mhm.
bullshit that were keeping love from being present and
Yes.
her own wanting, she was letting the things that happened to be the driving
Mhm.
force rather than her love for her husband and what she truly wanted to have in her life.
Wow, that's so powerful. And me being a former marriage and family therapist, I can really appreciate that. Often affairs are a symptom of something that's been going on unspoken for a really long time. And so this like is so potent, this kind of work. It is so deeply transformative. I am sure that she probably even had a different skin tone. Like she probably
Oh,
glowed, like
that
radiated
radiance.
in that. Like that's so powerful. That's such powerful work. I love that. So if we were to break it down in terms of your method, how do you walk? And of course, every client depends on how they're coming in, but generally, how do you walk women through going from that struggle of being in their power, being so disembodied, to embodied?
There's a there's pieces that come, but there's four pillars to my method.
Mm,
And it's the first is the turn off. that turn off the beliefs, barriers, and bullshit, the stuff that causes the shame, that causes
Yeah.
us to stay out of our body, and disempowers us in our business in so many ways.
Yeah.
And there's layers to this, and I get to some exercises on excavating the dirty little lies, because some of them are religious based, some of them are what a teacher told you. So there's so many layers to this. And we begin to then tune into the body. Tune in. The next one is tune in. And we tune into our souls. We tune into what it is that you want to bring alive. And the next part is turning it on, really getting into that juiciness of life, that lusciousness, that liberated you that wants to come and be exposed and out in the world, shining your radiance and light.
Yes. Oh, that's so, I love all the names. I'm getting like tingles with all these like
Luscious and juicy.
Then we tune in and then we turn on. Oh my gosh.
Yes. And then we turn it all up. Then we
turn it all up. Yes.
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 So the turn up is when you really start living that orgasmic life, when you can make each pleasureful moment and the process of reclaiming, our pleasure. Pleasure is a spectrum. Pleasure is something that we weren't taught. Yes. We weren't exposed to. We didn't have any kind of real exposure to what it is that we most love and enjoy, and how to build that, how to expand it, how to increase that capacity. Because, Rosalyn, if you don't increase your capacity for more pleasure, if you're not able to create that safety and really ride the waves of expansion, the way to do that is to make pleasure a priority. And when I say that, everybody goes, but isn't that selfish? We were taught not to be selfish. But really, it's more self-full. Yeah. It's more when you come into what really feels good to me at this moment. What is most alive for me in this moment? And you go from pleasureful experience to pleasureful experience. That's when life becomes so orgasmic.
Oh my God, I love this so much. It's super aligned with how I love to show up. It's like what feels really expansive, pleasurable, alive. Because like you just shared, it's so important to bring in more capacity. I can personally relate. Like for me, I was going to scale my business. I outgrew my business model in 2020, was going to scale it and bring out Soul Essential Business Academy. But I was like, oh, no, not ready. So I needed to expand my capacity and bring in more pleasure codes and like you said, the queen codes. And just then I felt ready. But I love the work you're doing to help women really bring in and expand that capacity, because it's so deeply important. We can't just, like my former version of myself, push through things, right? Like that might create some success, but underneath it's exhaustion, it's burnout, it's criticism. And we got to quote unquote success on the outside. That's what it might look like, but on the inside, it doesn't match. It's not aligned with pleasure and play and full capacity, and how we really want to make money in such a beautiful, energetic, magnetizing way. So thank you for the work you do.
Yes.
Oh my God. Yeah.
I have two mantras that I would love to gift. And one is, it pays to play. So the more you play, the more you are expanding that capacity. And it'll feel foreign until you begin to really make it a practice. And then the other one is pleasure and play are the feminine way. So I like to really, make sure that each woman is finding those ways to bring more pleasure, from the point of owning and reclaiming our pussy all the way to what is it that brings me most alive in
Yeah.
this moment? Would a sip of water feel good? Would it feel really good? I'm looking outside right now and it's like snowing and I'm like, oh, I want to go play in the snow like I did when I was a kid, you know? How can we bring more pleasure to our life, to our families, to our, I went all the way to burnout, and the pleasure is what I had totally set aside. I had put it towards
Mm.
my making my kids happy. How many women out there run around getting your kids to all of their activities, making sure that they have all of the softball or baseball or Girl Scouts or whatever, gymnastics, but yet at the end of the day, you roll into bed and you're exhausted. And there's not even enough at the end of the day to say, I'm going to take a bubble bath for me.
Mm.
We're not putting ourselves first. You hear over and over to put the oxygen mask on yourself. But truly, pleasure should be a priority in your life, and it will refuel your life, because I went from this old looking grandma 10 years ago that was just, I mean, there was no light. I was dying. I could have turned off the light at any point, to now vibrant and ready.
You are so vibrant and radiant. Like, yeah, I could feel your codes as soon as we met. I was like, who is this lady? Like, Mama Gina codes. Yes, I love this. So we will drop that link for your mantras in the show notes. And what we're going to do right now, Marianne, is you guys can find her on Facebook, by the way. So again, that'll be in the show notes, all the ways you can connect with her. Definitely, if your body is like, yes, I am so feeling called to lean into working with Marianne, finding out more about how I can be supported and held and by her so I can embody my power, definitely go and connect with her. She is amazing, as you can already feel. All right, my love. So in the last few minutes in our closing of our show, I'd love for you, Marianne, to just really guide us into, perhaps we can do, what are you feeling called? Let's play. Like helping somebody to start to move into tuning in. How's that feel?
Let's go there. Let's go there. That sounds great. So,
awesome. And then just in the last minute or so, just cue me in and I'll come in with a light language transmission to really like activate all of this.
Yeah. And at any point, so how many more minutes do we have? Do we have about 5 minutes to do this?
Yeah, we for sure have that. Yes.
Okay. So I'd like to invite you, if it feels good to you, if it feels really in this moment like you would like to, I'd like to invite you to close your eyes.
Mm-hmm.
I'd like you to get comfortable in your chair if you're sitting, if you're standing. I'd like for you to open your legs just a little bit and just feel and bring all your awareness to your breath. As you take in a breath, I want you to follow that breath as it comes into your body through your mouth. And then I want you to just start softening. Do you remember though, looking at one of those pictures that is up on a wall? And if you looked at it, it just looked like a bunch of pixels. But as you begin to soften and soften your eyes, you begin to notice that there was something beyond that. There was a 3D image. It could have been a whale. It could have been a turtle. That's the feeling I want you to do right now as you're taking this next breath in. I want you to soften your body, soften your mind. Let go. Feel deeper in your body. Through this next breath, as you take it in, I want you to feel just a little bit more calm, a little bit, soften a little bit more. Trace the breath into your body. On this next one, feel the breath as it goes all the way down into your lungs. Feel it into your belly. Take and put your hand on your belly. Do you feel the breath expanding your belly? If not, take the next breath and bring it past your lungs into your diaphragm and down into your belly. As you exhale, I want you to exhale anything that does not feel soft and alive. If it feels a little dark, if it feels a little tension, if you feel tension in your body and your shoulders, just on this next breath, I want you to exhale it, go, and draw your shoulders a little bit more, soften a little bit more. You should feel very anchored into this moment. If it feels good to you, if it feels like something, I would like you to take your hand and I would like you to cup it and I would like you to place it right in between your legs, right in on your yoni, on that most sacred connection to source. And it may feel a little awkward, it may feel a little strange, but it may feel very good, like, oh my goodness, I'm home. I'm connecting with the deepest, most sacred part of my being. And as you just have your hand there for a moment, I'd like you to place your other hand on your heart. And now I'd just like you to connect your heart with your true power. And I'd like you to rock just a little bit in the chair so you can just sort of feel a deepening. Just move your hips back and forth. Now I want you to take a deep, more invigorating breath, and I want you to feel that fire within you. You may let out a sound, you may let out some expression. And I'm going to ask at this time that Rosalyn brings our light codes and brings us into an anchoring place of really the communal between our heart and our pussies.
Beautiful.
And then unifying our head.
Beautiful. And before I drop in the light language transmission, this is so powerful. I invite you to zip in your breath through your yoni, your root chakra. Zip it up all of your energy centers right through your core, up into the universe. So through your crown into the universe. Feel into the power of bringing and elevating your breath, your energy into the cosmos. And then as you breathe out, just ground it back down into your yoni. Clearing anything that's in the way of your power. Keep breathing in, sipping in your breath through your yoni all the way to the universe. Bringing in some light codes, some healing codes. It is safe for you to be powerful. It is safe for you to have and be pleasure. It is safe for you to show up powerfully. The more power you have, the more good you can do. Breathing in again. All the way up into the universe. Suspend your breath. Feeling into all of the energy. Bring your intention, your vision of your next level version of yourself, being bold, being unapologetic, being in pleasure. being powerful, bringing in and magnetizing money, clients, friends, community of women that are here to support and uplift each other. And then with all of this, breathing down as if you're a tree, your feet are the roots, your breath become the roots, breathing down and planting all of this into Mother Earth, feeling into the energetics of your power being seated deep in, ready for that next level growth. And then just regulating your breath, feeling the sensations in your body, allowing the pleasure to flow through, allowing the tingling, allowing the expansion inside. Savoring with every fiber of your being, the sensations that feel so good. Embodying. Thank you so much, my loves, for being here. Thank you, Marianne. This is a very... Thank you. Do go and connect with her, my loves.